Next, we have the Controlling Claim Costs with Imaging project from New York City. And we have Alan Havesi and Rosario Espera.
Thank you very much. Thank you for Ford Foundation, the Council, the Kennedy School for recognizing all the innovations that are represented in this room, and including ours. The foundation for our program is an optical imaging computer system we call OASIS. But the technology is only part of the story, one tool we are using to completely overhaul the way we process claims. Like many governments, we were working blind, buried under mountains of paper. Now we can see. We can implement programs and obtain results that were literally impossible before. Controlling the costs of claims is vital. Last fiscal year, New York City paid $300 million in claims for everything from fender benders to medical malpractice. The city is self-insured, so that means less money for teachers and police officers and other essential services. The Comptroller's Office processes about 30,000 claims a year, an annual load of about 1.5 million pieces of paper. Before, all of this paper was processed manually, and our claims adjusters spent as much as 75% of their time just finding and organizing documents and data. Very little time was spent actually investigating claims. Now our staff has instant access to files. We have powerful tools that place everything necessary to process claims at our fingertips. This has freed huge amounts of staff time we are using to address issues that were beyond our reach before. Freed from paper shuffling, our employees now can be knowledge workers. We are improving risk management by using OASIS to analyze causes of claims and propose corrective measures. For example, a study of Board of Education claims revealed a pattern of serious injuries on student field trips. As a result, the board developed new field trip guidelines to better protect children. We are also replicating parts of OASIS for the Board of Education and forging an ongoing partnership to cut the cost of claims. For the first time, we can check to see if successful claimants owe the city money. By taking what the city is owed before paying on claims, we have collected $8 million. We use the same method to identify deadbeat fathers. Recently, when a man won a $120,000 settlement, we notified his wife and children, and they collected the $70,000 he owed them. For the first time, we can aggressively pursue those who damage city property. We reversed the litigation process. We have already collected $500,000 through this effort. Also, our new fraud detection program has already saved at least $600,000, and it's a new program. This success was not achieved without great effort. Our program faced and overcame all the obstacles that often cause innovative programs to fail. For example, it is extremely difficult to obtain approval for an expensive long-term project with no immediate political benefit. We gained sign-off from 3 independently elected controllers and 3 mayors, some of whom were political foes. I put you in context of New York City politics. We believe our program meets all of your evaluation criteria. 1, effectiveness. Our claims operation is handling more cases more quickly with fewer staff. Since 1990, claims are up 17% and staff is down 34%. The really big savings are in the innovations I mentioned before, and especially one other. We have already saved $3.6 million in reduced payouts from an early settlement program, and savings are growing every year. Early settlement benefits injured parties because they get their money up front, and we save substantial litigation costs and time. Thanks to early settlement and the other innovations, our program has already saved a total of $20 million on a capital investment of $4 million, and we're only in the startup phase. 2, significance. Risk management is a crucial issue for all governments. We now have the tools to identify sources of risk management, and that saves money, not only saving money, but helping people, because people are the ones who will not be injured as a result of risk management programs. 3, novelty. We have all heard many unkept promises about the paperless office. We deliver. Our program combines cutting-edge technologies and work process re-engineering in many unique ways. Its excellence was recognized in 1996 when a prestigious national technology forum gave OASIS the highest award in North America for an innovative approach to workflow. 4, most important here, replication. Our system can be replicated by any entity that deals with large volumes of paper. We've already replicated the system in our own shop with our prevailing wage enforcement unit and our contract registration. We've made it easier for others to adopt optical imaging systems. We work with private industry to gain passage of a state law that gives optically imaged documents the same legal standing as the originals. That eliminates the need to keep the original paper and provides another strong incentive to adopt this program. The more efficient we can make government operations, the more resources will be available for the really important service government provides. Again, thank you for the recognition you have already given everyone in this room, that you have given us, and allowing us the opportunity to share our success story. And I want to thank Rosa Esperon, who's our Deputy Controller in charge of this program, and Mike Aronson and Joe Trapani from our staff who are here. And I apologize also for talking so fast. It's a New York thing.
Questions from, yes, Max.
Let me ask you one that you didn't speak about, but it is a reference to the fact that with this information that you can then analyze where these claims come from and also do some preventive work. Could you elaborate on that, please?
Yes, certainly.
And I don't think that left mic works so well, Mr. Chairman. I don't know. You may want that one works much better.
Yes, actually, we have been able to look at several different things. In fact, we looked recently at claims coming from the police department, and we've also looked at claims, as he mentioned, from the Board of Education, where it is that we're experiencing a higher degree of claims and what's causing them. And so that's been a very effective tool now for us to look at where the claims are coming from and how we can avoid them.
Let me add to that what the next step is, because the next step has resulted in a one-year review with a private consultant, Price Waterhouse. We're about to announce results, and it's going to end up in some policy initiatives. For example, making agency heads responsible for risk management by setting a threshold for how much claims history in the past they will be responsible for, and if they make the risk management changes that are crucial. For example, in the police department, training cops to behave in ways that do not result in risk, in injuring people and costing the city money, that we will reward the agency if they drop below the threshold. They share in the savings. If the claims payouts are above the threshold, it comes out of their budget. So the technology is leading to substantial changes which will help people, save some people some injuries, and maybe save some lives and save us a lot of money.
Other questions here? Yes, please, Don.
Technology can be very threatening to a lot of people. And I wonder if you'd talk a little more about how this played out, particularly in light of the trial attorneys that would be dealing with the information that would be collected.
Actually, the city's law department, which is not necessarily related to our office, is in the process of using our technology to better help them prepare for their cases in court. And actually, we thrive on the fact that they have also put these computers and made them available to their lawyers, because we still have the responsibility to put money on cases when there's a settlement. So if the lawyers have prepared the cases well and they go to court, they can always, through the system, send us information, and we can then put money on the case. So it works very well with the lawyers that represent the city.
Did I not understand then there was initial opposition from the trial attorneys?
Oh, you're talking about the trial attorneys opposing the law that was passed in the legislature involving getting rid of the paper. The trial attorneys were very upset because they figured, well, if the original is gone, how can we trust this new technology with respect to whether or not this document is going to be accepted in court? And while the law has not been tested, and our lawyers are very conservative in the comptroller's office, we're not getting rid of the paper on a personal level. I'd get rid of the paper.
Meanwhile, when we went to the legislature to get the law passed, allowing the imaging to count as an original and eliminating the paper, after a period of time and some discussion, the trial lawyers supported the effort.
Now, this is probably a question that only a computer illiterate would ask, but what happens?
And I'm qualified to answer it.
What happens when the computers crash? What do you do?
Rosa.
Actually, we've had several opportunities to test what happens when the computers crash. And we manage, obviously, to try to hold off on the system causing us collapse, in the sense that when it crashes, we don't lose the document, the image. And so it's always there. There's a backup system that allows us to retrieve any document that has been imaged. So even though the computers do crash, we don't lose the ability to go back and investigate those claims and deal with them.
Max?
And one other, isn't there a danger when you have all these people that are in so many different places working alone or in isolation that you don't get the collaboration that maybe is needed for making some of these decisions?
I don't think so, because the process does not end collaboration, it just expedites it. There comes a point in any of the process in investigating and reviewing claims and ultimately even starting the process of litigation, where the claims examiner has to deal with the lawyers for the city, who has to deal with the lawyers for the claimant, and has to deal with the claimant themselves. That process is not eliminated. What's eliminated is the 75% of our staff time getting to the point where that collaboration begins. That's reduced dramatically.
Jack?
Could you compare the splendid work you've done in applying a new technology to public business with what's happened using the same technology in the private sector? It would be my guess that it's been available or used in the private sector for a long time. Is the innovation here bringing it to public service? And in any case, have any of the things that you've done as a consequence filtered back to the private side as departures?
On the one side, I'm not sure that this modern technology is utilized in any significant way yet in the private sector. And we had to deal with a mindset in our own government with the policymakers, the elected policymakers, to get them to accept the notion of something radical. We were also one of the first to deal with the year 2000 problem. And instead of buying, with the two digits, and instead of buying new software, we got our elected officials, our mayor, to change the mindset, and we're putting in a whole new elaborate system for our payroll at a cost of about $126 million. So I think part of the innovation here is taking this technology, using it to implement policy, and showing that it works so that we can replicate it both in government and then, because of our interaction with the private sector, encouraging them to pursue our lead.
So you're pioneering for everybody, not just for the public sector.
Thank you very much. Rosa, before you leave, could you help us with the point that Max Sherman made? Could you test that microphone versus the other one?
Hi there.